Hey, is that Dragula from the Munsters? Hey everybody, Ron the Future here. How are you guys doing? Go ahead and leave in the comments below how you guys are doing. I always want to know how everybody's doing out there. So yeah, you're right. This is Dragula from the Munsters. I'll give you a quick little view here in the case, and then I'll take the case off and I'll explain to you a little bit about the car. So I'm standing up. I'm trying to get a nice overview of Dragula for you. Okay, so I'm going to sit down. I'm going to tell you about this car. Okay, well, first of all, welcome everybody. If you're new here, go ahead and subscribe if you like the channel. And it's October 29th, 2020. It's right before Halloween, so this is kind of appropriate, right? So happy Halloween to everybody out there. So first of all, this is a model that I built. And about a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago, I built from the Munsters the Munster Coach. So if you guys love the Munsters and you love Dragula, you'll want to see my video on the Munsters. It's in my playlist under Model Cars. And if you love the Munsters, I think you're really going to like my video. I built a Munster Coach, and I built it the best I could and detailed it and painted it and everything. So go ahead and check that out if you love the Munsters or the Munster Cars. So again, like the Munster Coach I built that I showed on here about a year ago, a quick recap. I was looking for the Munster cars at a toy show. And this, like I said, this was actually, it's over 25 years ago. And I couldn't find any. So this was before the internet and eBay and all that. So you got to do it the old-fashioned way. Go to toy shows, ask around. So I was with a friend of mine, and we asked probably, I don't know, it seems like 30, maybe 50 toy dealers and guys selling model cars if they had any Munster cars for sale. And the one guy, this was in Anaheim, California, and he lived in Arizona, which is, many hours away from California. He said, well, I'll go home. Here's my phone number. I'll go home. I gave him my phone number. He says, if I have any, the Munster Coach or Dragula, I'll give you a call and give you a price. So about three or 4 days later after the show, I got a call from the guy, and he said, I have both, Dragula and the Munster Coach. So he gave me a fair price. I wrote him out a check. There's no PayPal and all that back then. You actually had to write a paper check out of the checkbook, mail it to this guy, hope he has the items, and you have to trust him that he'll ship them to you. Everything was on trust. So I did, and he was a trustworthy gentleman, and he sent me my Munster Coach and Dragula. So I built the coach, like I said, which I've already shown on here, and then I built Dragula. So this is how I keep them stored in these nice cases, just like the Munster Coach, and these are stackable, so you can put one case on top of the other. And like I said before, I will tell you on my model cars that I built, because I'm not a professional, I just do it, for fun as a hobby. I will tell you which cars are my better builds. This car, Dragula, is one of my better builds, and so was the Munster Coach. So, well, let's get started. So, like I said, there's the case. So I'm going to take it out of the case. All right, take the lid off, rather. I never take these cars out. So I built this when I lived in Southern California. And most of you know I live here in Las Vegas, Nevada. And I shipped these in my car. I put my model cars in the back seat of my car, and I drove the car up here. So all my models that I built, they all turned out perfect. Nothing broke. So anyway, we'll start with the body. Try to get as close as I can and keep it in focus. So as you know, it's a coffin. Now I don't know how old the coffin is on the real car. I probably did years ago and just forgot. I think it was a vintage coffin because if you look really close, you can see all the fancy like scroll work. Like I was saying on my Munster coach build, I used to work for George Barris, who built the Munster cars for the TV show. When I was working for Barris, I seen this car Dragula in person and the Munster coach several times. A lot of times he would switch out the cars, so he'd go to different shows and everything. Sometimes the Munster coach would be there, or the Batmobile, Dragula, the Monkey Mobile, they would switch him out. So I don't have a turntable for this like I have my Hot Wheels, so I'm just going to spin it around on this towel for you guys. So there's the back end. Again, you can see all the fancy scroll work there on the coffin. Chrome taillights. I painted those red. And the coffin, I painted it. There's probably less paint on there than you think, because when I first started painting, I tended to put too much paint on the cars. I kept thinking the more paint I put, the shinier it would be, the more glossy it would be, right? But what it did, it would actually fill in the details, like the door jambs, and stuff like that, where the emblems are. So I had to learn to go very, very light spray. So I think I did pretty good on this one. And that coffin is really cool. And this is really delicate. That's why I really don't touch these too much since I moved to Vegas, and I just keep them in their cases. So I don't want to have to find another one and rebuild it. So I think this came out really, really nice. And I did forget the size of the engine. It is a V8. It has the chrome valve covers right there on each side. And it has these chrome air cleaner covers right there. Like I said, I forgot the size of the engine, and then on the Munster coach I did too. So the only mistake I made was on the exhaust pipes right there. This one came out perfectly straight, and this one came out crooked. And that's because when I was gluing them, I had put, I think it was like a little box or a cigarette pack or something against it to hold it straight. And whatever I had on this one up against it, the box or something moved or somebody hit it or something. So when the exhaust pipes dried, they dried on an angle like that. But they're so delicate, I didn't want to go back and redo it, re-break the glue, because I didn't want to break the pipes. And I only had the one set, so I was very careful. So I'd rather have it be a little bit on an angle like that. And then I painted the exhaust tips black, like exhaust really comes out of there. Then I detailed the engine. It's hard to see, but like the manifold and stuff, I painted red. I detailed the engine just in case if you could see it, but it's really crammed in there pretty good. It's really tight. And then I painted the driver's seat, which is, of course, this is a dragster. It only has the one bucket seat and the dragster steering wheel. Now on the back here again, the model kit, it did come with a parachute that's supposed to go right in the back there against the body, but I had a lot of trouble with that. And I kind of liked it better without it, even though it is a dragster. So I just left it off. And you can see on the back wheels there's wires going through the base. And I have this wire down. I wire down all my models that are in cases so I can move them and they won't, flip-flop around. So the back end is tied down. I didn't tie down the front end because the front end is very, very delicate, and I didn't want to bust it and ruin it and have to buy another one. I imagine now, even with eBay, these are probably pretty hard to get, pretty expensive. I haven't even looked them up. So then on the front end, first we got that little chrome tank. That would be the gasoline tank or racing fuel. So you don't need that much to go down a drag strip. Maybe a gallon or two, I'd imagine, and that's it. So we got the chrome front end, as you can see, and the headlights, which you really don't need on a drag strip, or the tail lights. It's more for show, of course. They're lanterns. And there's a black thing right here. I don't know what you want to call it, like a license plate or some kind of name plate. It wasn't in the kit. It was so tiny. I guess somebody lost it. So I made this. I made this out of plexiglass, and then I painted it. And in my own printing there, I put, so I can get closer here, I put Dragula. I think it says born 13, I think I put born 1361 and died ? It's real tiny, and I was running out of room. It's hard to, I'd like, I don't know, maybe a 3 or 4 haired brush. And I kind of had just one shot to doing it, to write it. And like I said, I'm not a professional, but I tried my best. But that's kind of what the plate, or whatever it's called, looked like on the box. So I tried to do it the best I could. Then, of course, it has the wire chrome wheels, which I really like. I really like those exhaust pipes. I think Grandpa Munster on the show called them organ pipes. That's where he got them from, was their vintage organ, because it had the big pipes coming up, if I remember right. It has some chrome linkage and front end parts there. And then, so these might be Krager rims. So I can get a better shot for you there. So I think these are Krager wheels. And then what I did, which I should have did on the Munster coach, and I did, and I could still do it, but once I'm done with the project, I hate to go back and fiddle around with it. But I took some very light sandpaper and I sanded down the back tires to make them dull, to make it look like a real racing slick. So as you can see there on the side, the top of the tire would be shiny black like that. And see, it's dull. So I sanded it down. I know I'm moving my camera a lot. I got it on a tripod here, and I'm using one hand to film and the other hand to turn this around. So that's why it's a little bit shaky. So that was the first time I'd done that, sanded the tires down a little bit so it will look like a real racing slick. So I think I did pretty good. So on all the models that I really like, and the builds came out really nice, I put in these plastic cases. And I try to paint the base different or do different things. As you'll see on my Munster coach, I put cotton. I made it look like fog to make it look real spooky. So again, if you like the Munster coach, go back and check that out. I think you'll really enjoy that video. So on this base here, again, I'm not a professional painter, model, builder, nothing. I just do everything for fun as my hobby. So I painted the base blood red, like I did the dragster seat there. So it's a really, really bright red. And then for the first time in my life, I drew a spider web. So I think I did pretty good. So I'm not an artist by any means or a painter. And I think I did pretty good on that. I'm trying to get the glare off there here. Okay. So yeah, there's the spider web. I was kind of proud of myself. That was my first spider web and the first time I painted a spider web. So after I painted the base red and I did the spider web, I wanted to make it a little bit more spooky, and I trimmed it along the ends there in black, as you can see. So nothing too fancy, you know, it's pretty simple. And that's what I was going for, because I put cotton on the Munster coach, so I didn't want to do the same on this. I could have, but I was just trying to do something different. So I think that's about it, guys. So that is Ron the Future's Dragula that I built over 25 years ago, and it's still holding up perfectly. And luckily, I never dropped any of my models, none of them. So I'm very, very careful with them. Like I said, I don't want to not only destroy them, I don't want to have to go out and buy them and redo the whole model again. So again, this is one of my better builds, and I will have other models coming up in the future. I don't have a whole lot of models like I do Hot Wheels and comic books. You're probably wondering how come I have so many Hot Wheels and comic books. I did have a lot of models years ago, and in my teens and in my early 20s, I built a lot of models, and I started getting too many, you know, because they take room. This was before these plastic cases came along and you can stack them. And I had so many models, I started selling them. And then I was selling mine, and then like at toy shows and car shows and stuff. And then I would see other people who were selling theirs, and sometimes I would buy theirs. So between me building them and then buying them, because they would sell them really cheap, I'd pick up like a 55 Chevy or 32 Ford between like $5 and $10, which I thought was really cheap, you know, to buy them, build them, paint them, glue them, and it takes a lot of time, you know. So I'd pick them up between $5 and $15, and then I had a lot. So I just started selling them. And like I said in other videos, you know, I didn't know YouTube was going to come out and people were going to do videos, and because I've had a lot of modeling videos to show you. But I do have a handful of models left, and so that's why I do a lot more comic books and Hot Wheels. I have a lot more books and Hot Wheels than I do plastic model cars that I built. I do have a few left model cars that I haven't built. They're still in the original boxes, and in the future I'll be bringing them out as well. So anyway, I don't want to make this video too long, and let me know what you think of my Dragula, and let me know if you build model cars, if you built a Dragula, or if you built a Munster coach. I'd really like to know that. So one quick look here. Yeah, the front tires I didn't sand down. I guess I should have, but they're kind of glossy on the top. And then after I built this model and I painted the base red, I thought maybe I should have painted the bucket seat purple. I think in the Munsters it was purple. I'm not sure. If you guys know that, let me know. And I think it came out pretty good. So the bucket seat matches the base. Or I should say the base matches the bucket seat, both in blood red. So that's it, guys. I'm going to finish up here. And it's just an awesome little car, very light, very delicate. There really isn't much to it. Give you a little closer side shot right there. It came out really clean. It's a very fun build. Kind of simple, but I think it came out really, really nice. And like I said, just in time for Halloween. So this is Ron the Future, you guys, for you new people out there. If you like my channel, go ahead and subscribe. Leave me a big like. Leave me a comment. What you think of the video. You guys stay safe out there. Okay? And happy Halloween. And I will see you guys next time.